no trouble finding a seat, but I think it's pretty typical of the afternoon session. Last one of the day after a big lunch and afternoon tea. Okay, I'm Andrew Pearce from Central Coast Council in New South Wales. Just the chair for this session. So thanks for joining us today for the Revolutionary New Startup Awards finalists. So basically, the awards recognise Australian-based businesses of no more than six employees who have entered into a waste management marketplace in 2020-22 calendar years. So we're going to hear from, there was 4 speakers today. We've only actually got 3. One might make it. They're running late. So they might turn up at the end, but we'll see how we go. And that's Guido with the bicycles. So I don't know if he's riding or driving or what, but he's running late. So we go. So we hear from all 3 of the finalists now in relation to how their business has grown, developed, what it is to doing to best practice, and what measures they're going to take to continue their growth into the future. So and the winner of the award, I had to look this up myself, but the winner of the award is going to get announced tomorrow morning at the session. So the first session tomorrow morning, everyone will be present and this is all open. So so all good. So each speaker's got about 20 minutes, 18 minutes. We allow a few minutes for questions. We've obviously got more time for questions here. I need to monitor the online chat forum as well, just in case there's any questions come in there. So what we'll do, we will take some questions after each session, but at the end we'll also have a panel arrangement, so I find that works better, where the speakers will be here and we've got a microphone and we can ask some questions and the individual speakers can stand up and answer their questions. So, rightio, so I shall pick bring on the first person. I said Guido was first one on the list today and he's absent at this point in time, so we'll bring on Rob. And Rob's going to talk about delivering optimal site performance. I've had a chat with Rob already today. He's got some great work that he's doing there and I'll let him explain all about that. Take it away, Rob.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks very much, everyone. One thing better than the last session of a conference is the last session on the first day of a conference. So, I appreciate everyone turning up and it's should be having a good afternoon, I think. But first of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Impact Environmental Consulting and Dawn and Connie and the rest of the team for the award. Also Boxhead Plastics and Resource Hub, Lacey, hi, and Revolve Recycling. So it's great to be in a group like that. Really appreciate being selected as one of the finalists for this. But what we were going to talk about today was one of our initial projects when we started, and it was helping a site overcome some obstacles where they were set some fairly tight KPIs. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask, has anyone here, and our audience participation, you can put your hand up if you want, if you don't, that's fine. But has anyone ever, tried to join a gym, been on a diet, trying to learn a new skill? Trying to work, majority of people have. And then if you think to yourself, how did it go? Did I get the result that I wanted? Did I get to learn the skill? Did I get to, run that marathon or whatever it was going to be? And I don't need you to answer. I'm not going to ask anyone to sort of speak up. But just think about that, and we'll talk about a little bit at the end of the session, get a bit of an idea of sort of what we're looking at. But as I said, the program that we worked on was for a fairly small landfill, regional landfill in Victoria, where they were set the contractor was set some fairly hard KPIs as far as density and productivity. And what happened was the council had come in and set these KPIs, contractor had come on board, and they weren't really achieving them as easily as they thought they would be able to, which meant that they weren't getting their full tilt on their pay. So they were set a rate, and if they didn't achieve the target, they were going to be about 0.9 of their normal rate, so 90% of what they should have been getting paid for. They did this for a couple of months, and they realised they just needed to sort of get a little bit of assistance and a bit of help to try and work out where they can, improve and what they can do differently to try and achieve their full rate. The kicker with this was that once they hit whatever that target was, everything above it, then they started to do a bit of a profit share. So there was incentive for them to actually do what they were supposed to do, plus get that little bit better and continue to get that little bit better each time. So through some relationships that we had, previously I was asked to come out and have a look at the site and look at what could be done to try and help this site improve what they are doing today. And the process that we use at Optimal is that we like to come out, have a look at what you're actually doing, so we understand what you're doing. But the big thing is we like to try and listen, all right? So have you ever been in a conversation where you're sitting there with someone and you're trying to talk and tell them how you feel or what's going on, and you can see them, they're just waiting to talk to you and tell you what they want to tell you. So what we try and do, and it's not always that easy, is to sit there and shut up and listen to what they're actually saying. But then once you've heard what they're saying, then to get clarification, make sure that, okay, this is what you've told me, and you're telling it back to them in different words, but it's the same message, to make sure that, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Once you start to get that understanding, things start to come together because now you're on the same page, all right? What we have found is that what you think is your pain point isn't necessarily your pain point. So that might not be what's causing you problems. And that's where that listening comes in, so that we can actually understand what are you trying to say and what do you think is causing it, and then we can actually do a little bit of work and try and work out what is actually the root cause of it, and then try and get that put into some kind of a process where we can actually, I guess, start to build on it, improve on it, and then start to get things happening. But when we do start to formulate a plan, it's about basics, and we don't want to come in and change the world because you're running an operation, so you're going to be doing things a certain way, and for someone to come in who isn't involved in your business to try and upset everything and change everything just doesn't work. So what we try and look at is, what are you doing today, and how can we make small, manageable changes to then get some results that you're trying to see. So with this side in particular, it was really basic. So getting back to the basic, and if we all think about landfill compaction, and I'm not sure if everyone is involved in it, but landfill compaction is pretty much two things: thin layers, multiple passes. Okay? Thin layers and multiple passes, that's all we're trying to do. When we talk to people about, density and landfill and maximising airspace, people are asking what's new. Okay? And there's nothing new. Thin layers, multiple passes. If we can get that done, we're going to get density. And what we started to do was we started to look at how they were working the face, and there was a lot of random operating, random movement, and there was no real logic behind it. So we started to give them some structure. But we looked at machine utilisation. Machine utilisation covers how is the machine used for the allotted hours that we've got during the day. So are we compacting with it? Is it idling? Is it actually pushing cover? Is it doing things that it's not supposed to be doing? So we looked at that. Machine passes, again, making sure that we're getting that coverage map. We're getting that waste laid down, and we're getting a machine to methodically cover it bit by bit. Cover consumption was something that we started to look at a little bit further down the track to try and work out how we were going and where are some other areas that we can try and start improving density by reducing non-value added material that we're putting into a landfill. And then operator buy-in. Operator buy-in's, much easier than people think. So how do you get these operators who are running these machines to do what you want them to do? You've got to give them some incentive. And 17 years with Caterpillar, I learnt pretty quickly that a cat jacket does wonders. You turn up with a jacket with CAT on it, people love it. So we start thinking about, okay, what can we do? And the site that we're working on, they're actually running BOMAGs, or a BOMAG. So, for something as cheap as $150, which is what these models cost, once we started to achieve some results, they weren't just given that, but they were given that with a carrot. So it was a case of, guys, you're doing a great job. We're starting to hit the targets that we need to hit. But what I want you to do is for the next 2 months, I want you to maintain that. I don't want you to drop it off. If you drop off, we're not going to get anything. But if you can maintain that and continue to grow, there's a model in it for you. And they were over the moon. They'd never had anyone give them something like that. And it was fairly basic. So wasn't anything, wasn't anything extraordinary, but it was worth a lot of money to the company if we can try and get these gains. Okay? Once we've sort of decided what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and getting them to change the work that they were doing, it's really important to then manage the performance. So we're looking at that explain, show, do type mentality. So we're talking to them the basics, you know, thin layers, multiple passes. And then we're getting on a machine. In the case with this site, I was spending a lot of time on a compactor actually demonstrating what we wanted them to do, then getting them to then replicate what we were doing. And they had never had anyone do that for them before. Again, it's one of those things that it's very simple stuff, but you can tell someone, as long as you want, my wife will admit to this because I do it all the time with her, I'll say, just do it this way. And she's like, what are you talking about? But once you show her what you're talking about, then, you're an idiot, you know, you're not explaining it the right way, you mean this. And then, you know, she understands it and then she can get on board as well. So it's the same with the operators out there. It was that explain, show, do mentality. But the discussion point was held in those regular meetings that we had. So we would be able to have a weekly call, or in this case it was a monthly call, and we have these discussions where we could talk about metrics, we could talk about how the machines are performing, what they're doing well and what they can change. And it was red light, green light type stuff. So this is working really well, and this is working, or this is an area that we can try and improve in or change the way we're doing it. So you gave them some actionable changes. But once we started to, I guess, achieve some performance gains and things were starting to get better, you know, we have a look up here, and this is the actual graph with the density graph that we had from the site. And this little drop off here, you know, I refer to that with the team as the valley of disappointment, you know, because it was like we were going so well and then we dropped the ball. And that's what they didn't have as well, is they didn't have someone actually catching them when they've started to drop the ball and get them back on track. You know, so it's simple stuff. And a lot of the reports and the meetings that we had, they were developed in a way that they could be printed out and used in the lunchroom sheds. So you're giving them to the operators so they can see them. They're in front of them all the time. Made it very easy to understand what was going on. But the biggest thing was the plan that we may have started with and what we decided we were going to do, we may need to tweak it as we go. So there was lots of tweaking, lots of, you know, knob turning and adjusting this or doing that, changing the way we're working on the face, changing when the machines are working and so on, and then also the interaction with the other machines. So there was a lot of change. But whenever we're working with people and we're working with sites, we look at I guess how people expect things to happen. So the graph that we've got up here is a bit of an idea of sort of, you know, what majority of people see and sort of how things work. So it's going to start out with where you are, and there's going to be a slight improvement because you're going to make a change, you know, and things will get a little bit better. We may maintain that change and it may just continue to passively grow a little bit by little bit. But what people actually expect is going to happen is that when we have that little bump in improvement, they're expecting that there's going to be another one. Have you ever sat in a budget meeting when they said, for the last 2 years, you've increased by 5% on the first year and 6% on the second year, so therefore next year we're going to expect a 6 or 7% increase and then an 8% increase for the following year. And it's just because, well, that's what the trending looks like is going to happen, not necessarily the case, all right? So expectations are things that are just going to continue to improve, okay? When in reality, what will happen is we'll have these gains and then things are going to drop off. And it's that drop off which is where we get to that, like I said, that valley of disappointment. And that's where we try and then work with you or work with the site to then try and catch that before it gets too far, before it gets back to business as usual, and divert it back so that things are coming back to the way that you originally planned on them or you needed them to be. But this active management is where we can then start to get those increases happening little by little. And they don't have to be big improvements. They can be quite small improvements. But we just want, you know, 1%ers, just building on that 1% each month or each year, whatever it's going to be, just that little bit better, a little bit better. And we start to get to where we want to. But this is what we see as a normal like a normal process for the way things improve, the way things drop off, and what we've got for people's expectations. And we try and challenge that a fair bit so that you understand that things aren't just going to continue to get better. You need someone to actually help you. So, like at the start, I was asking, who had been on a health trip or they're trying to learn something new. It started out really well, and then probably hasn't gone as well as it could have gone. Now, I guess one side note, does anyone know how you can tell if someone's ever done CrossFit before? No? Well, you don't have to worry because I'll usually tell you, okay? So, I did CrossFit, right? And what I found was when I did it and I had a coach, my results were really, really good, okay? Lost weight, felt the best, and that was only 10 years ago when I was still old but younger than I am today. So what I'm getting at is that, while I had someone helping me with it and they were pushing me and they made me feel as though I had to do the right thing, I had to improve, I had to work, I had to stop eating the rubbish food that I was eating and showing up for training, I got the results. When I stopped going, I thought, well, I know what I've got to do. Hey, Exhibit A, all right? I didn't quite keep up with the same regime. I didn't stop eating the rubbish food. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't do the work I was supposed to do because I didn't have anyone there really pushing me along, pushing me outside of my comfort zone and making me work that little bit harder. So what we try and think about when people ask, what do we do at Optimal Site Performance? It's about coaching people. It's about being that little, that voice in your head that's getting you to do that work, to turn up for the meetings. Have you ever been on a planned meeting and people just don't show up on the call? And you kind of think, well, am I important enough for you? Did it really matter that I was here and you weren't? So we make sure that, we're on that call because you're as important as anyone else. And when you feel important, you actually do the work. So we found it's real basic stuff. The work that they did at this site was fairly easy to do, but they just needed someone to help pushing them along and keeping them honest and giving them some tools so that they could actually talk to the rest of their team about what they needed to change. Okay? But that was a small project that we worked on. We're currently working on some other larger ones, but we still feel that the methodology that we have and the way we work with our clients, it resonates, across all different operations, and it doesn't have to be, landfill specific. What we're finding is that everyone just wants to be a little bit better than they were yesterday. But the real question that you need to ask yourself is, do I really want to put the effort into change? Because if you think you want to put the effort in, but it's like, it's kind of a little bit hard. I don't really think I'm going to want Rob on my back every week, because Rob will be on your back every week. Okay, maybe that's not for you. But if you think, no, I really need to make this change and I need someone to push us along, then, that's where we think we fit. Okay? But thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate you hanging around. Or team, or people, or whatever we call everyone these days. We don't call everyone guys anymore. I apologise about that. It's something I'm trying to get out of. But thank you very much for your time, and didn't know if anyone had any questions. Yes?
Thanks, Rob, for a fascinating talk. I'm a long-time Sydney resident, and I don't hate Melbourne.
I'm from the Gold Coast.
I love the Gold Coast. You can sell me a house for some extremely limited amount. Okay. In Sydney, what I've seen over the years is the word landfill has basically become a dirty word. Nobody wants a landfill. Nobody wants a new landfill. People are tolerant of increasing the size of existing landfills, such as, I don't know if you know, Lucas Heights.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically in a valley, so it's now the largest landfill there is. But what you're saying is there is a room for reasonably sized landfills, but the various politicians going from council to state to federal level are very much in opposition to any new landfill. So any new landfill might have to be in the Snowy Mountains or something. In terms of publicity, can you give us our thoughts? Give us your thoughts on what might constitute a better approach to the politicians?
I will honestly say that I do not think I'm the right person to answer that question, but there's always a but, and it's like everything that comes after the but was a mistake. But what I would say is that, you know, I don't think landfills have become a dirty word. Landfills have always been a dirty word. So they've always been treated, you know, in a way that people don't really understand. And that comes a lot from the media as well. And I remember there was talk a while ago of an ad where they were talking about, it was a product, I can't think what it wasn't batteries, it was something else, but they talked about it getting dumped in landfills and it leaching out into the environment. So that kind of stuff in itself doesn't put a landfill in its right place, because that's not what a landfill does. It doesn't allow that stuff to happen. But yeah, I think, you know, I don't want to get into the, you know, there's a place for large landfills and small landfills. I think there is a need for landfilling in some form, and it's going to depend on the other types of waste processing that are available in the industry, and, you know, things are changing. I know there's different types of waste treatment, but there's always going to be some type of residue, and whether that residue is odorous or not. There's a lot of work with FOGO and other types of processing and collection of waste products. So there's things that are reducing and things that are making less odour and less problems in landfills, but I think landfills are going to be something that's around for a while, but I can't really go into much more detail than that. No worries, thanks very much. No other questions? I'll grab my model before you give it away. Yeah.
Thanks, Rob. It's certainly important as we face as I said, the lack of landfill infrastructure. Importantly, it's a finite resource, and it's about compacting as much material as we can within within the space. So it's it's absolutely vital we do that. And there's things like asbestos and what have you where there is no alternative resource recovery option other than landfill. So okay, so our next speaker will be Lacey Webb. Come on down. So Lacey's the founder and CEO and director, chief bottle washer, I don't know, whatever else there. Yeah, we're all the hats of Resource Hub Consulting. Interesting bio here, you're a keen collector of red shoes. I have some right now. Oh, that's great. Yeah, okay. That's all right. You come up, I'll jump down here. It's all good.
Don't fall. Thank you. I'm really impressed that Rob admitted to telling Liz what to do. Try to tell your wife what to do. Okay, cool. You're a brave man, Rob. So I sent a presentation to Connie from Impact 2 days ago with a great job that we've delivered recently. It was an EPA New South Wales engaged job with Veolia from a major facility, and I was really proud. And she emailed me back and said, "This job looks really cool, Lacey, except this is a pitch about Resource Hub. You can just give me a sales pitch." And I figured if I'm allowed to just stand at Coffs Harbour and give a sales pitch, I'm going to do that. So I don't need a lot but a giant logo on a screen. So that's sort of the way we're going today. But for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Lacey, also Lacey Webb, previously Lacey from Mandalay, previously former CFO, CPA, Lacey from BMI Group. I've been around the traps for a while. Someone said to me yesterday, "Oh, hey, I don't know where you get your name tag." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because I don't know your last name." So hi, I'm Lacey. I am the founder and CEO of Resource Hub. We are a small startup, we're 3 years old, from Brisbane, but I'm a lady that both likes red shoes but also loves the waste management and resource recovery industry. I fell into it by accident and found some opportunities, I suppose, where we could help facilities to be better at what they do. So, what do we do? Resource Hub delivers the boring admin stuff to the waste sector. So we are a team of remote admin people. We deliver waste levy returns. We're Australia's only specialist waste levy consultancy. We know the regulations of waste levy in every state. In Queensland, as an example, we actually deliver the waste levy returns for over 25% of the market. Not only local government, we do all the major landfills, New Chum, Springmount, Swanbank, we do them all. And it's something that I'm really proud to, I suppose, get a chance to talk about because we are the people behind the scenes. So we aren't the people that you hear about. We aren't solving the problems of landfills. We aren't the engineers. We're the admin chicks. Additionally to that, we're also the people who help define best practice for your facilities. So we're going to talk a little bit today about a new technology that we've released, which is our new app called Audrey. We're auditors. We look at facilities, landfills, transfer stations, MRFs, and we help them to improve how they deliver what they deliver by defining what best practice is. And we take that from all of the facilities that we've seen through our years in industry, through the clients that we have and the other facilities that we maybe don't work with but we know do great stuff, and we deliver that across Australian waste sector. Now, it used to just be me. It was a little bit of the Lacey show, but it's not just me anymore, and I thought that was really important to touch on today because I'm really proud of the fact that, number one, we're here. We're nominated for an award, which is awesome, but number two, that we're actually now a team. There is this perception when you're a consultant of a small business that you are a resource challenge. And I've got a couple of customers in the room today and in the rest of the building who know that sometimes there can be an access challenge getting a hold of me and getting things out of us because we don't have a lot of humans, but we are a team. And this is Resource Hub. So this award is about a maximum small business with 6 FTE. This is my 6 FTE. At Resource Hub, when we started, I was a small business. We couldn't afford full-time employees, so we started by putting on our first human who was a return-to-work mum who had 12 years in industry at Cleanaway and BMI. Our second employee was someone who worked 2 days a week and came from the industry body RICU in Queensland. Then we added another return-to-work mum. Then we added a former waste data administrator. We love to add people who love this industry, who are great at what they do, who understand what the industry is about, and who can provide value to our clients. We aren't solely about hiring women. We just happen to, at the moment, because we're about fully flexible, have a team of chicks. But if you know any blokes who'd like a job, we can't keep up. We'd love some more help, so send them my way. On the screen here, we've got Liz in yellow. Liz came from Bayside Council in Sydney. She was running trucks during COVID when the council was locked down. She was their waste coordinator. She now works for us 3 days a week. And she delivers a lot of our regulatory reports. She's the person people ring when the EPA turns up and say, I've got a bunch of questions, can you answer them for me? And they go, we don't know, can we, Liz? And she goes, sure, I'll answer those for you. We've got Chloe, who was a project manager, who has 2 garbage truck rear lift routes, and also who's worked in the tech space in waste now for 12 years. We've got Jazz, who comes from a HR background but is a guru of systems and process. Alicia, who is the daughter of the well-known Allard from Bree Group, who we engaged because we love his passion and he's well-known in industry, and we thought, hell, well, if we can get a little bit of that, we'll take that as part of our team. And then we've got the rest of the humans who make up our lovely little group. When I say we're fully flexible, I mean we're fully flexible. Isabella came from Casselberry Coast. Isabella came from Casselberry Coast and now lives in Adelaide. She works from there. We've got a team member recently who moved home to Sweden. We've got a team member who works from home every day except 1 day a week because you've got school runs. It's an hour and a half in traffic to get to the office. The important thing for Resource Hub is that we deliver the services that our clients need, and we're the remote support team. We don't have to be on the ground. So for my team, it's about them being available when Lockyer Valley Regional Council calls, or when Upper Hunter calls because they've got mattress muster this weekend and their buttons aren't working in their ticketing system. We can be available to deliver that work from anywhere. We're a part of their team from anywhere that we are. So, what can we do? We spoke about what we do. We do the boring admin stuff. We can do anything that you can throw at us, frankly. I say to people, we're like an accounting firm. You ring your accounting firm and you say, hey, I need my BAS done. And then you say, can you do my bank recs? And then you say, oh, while you're there, can you just run that report and tell me how much money I made? We're those guys. First you ring us for a waste levy return this month, and next month you want some diversion reports, and then you need to know what button to press in your transactional software, and then you need some training, and then you've got a question about waste levy, and then the EPA turns up. We're those people. We are the helping hand behind the scenes. If you can think of it, we can solve it. In addition to our we can solve it work, we have 3 key service offerings. So they are remote admin. That's the boring admin stuff. And I've included some examples here of some of the work that we've done in the last week. So on the left, this is one of our training handover guides. So we work with Upper Hunter Regional Council. If anyone needs a hand because you're regional and you think sometimes we just need an extra set of hands, Oscar is happy to talk to you. Chat to Oscar Gallagher. When their waste administrator left her role, they decided it wasn't feasible for council to find someone that could fill the role permanently. So instead, they outsourced to us 32 hours a month. For that 32 hours, we run a handful of reports. We help them to actually do some validations of their charges and their costs every month. We then started diving into a few areas that the year before we'd assisted the EPA with an audit on. And every time we make a change in their system or we change a button for the gatehouse, because we're not there, we've implemented a new process whereby we make a one-pager that goes to the gatehouse a week before the system processes change. Staff can look at it, it's on the window, we turn the buttons on, and they've got a procedure that's both for the staff to know what to do when systems change, but also that they can add into the procedure guide for future use and for future staff training. In the middle, that's Lockyer Valley Regional Council. You might have been in the regional sessions with Christine Blanchard early. That's one of her sites. At Lockyer Valley, we actually assisted them with an audit to have a look at just why things weren't efficient, what was going wrong. They knew that there was some stuff that wasn't quite right. They didn't know what it was. It's usually why people call us. So we went out and we had a look and we saw all of these paper books, all these tins of cash and tills and cables, and I sort of looked and went, well, that's a little messy. Look, what can we do about that? So for Lockyer, when Melissa finished her role, they decided to reinvest that budget in a technical officer. But part of that budget they allocated to Resource Hub. So now every month we run their 4 primary financial reports. We go through and we make sure their data syncs every month because they have 5 remote transfer stations. We go through and we do training every 6 months with the gatehouse staff so they understand if there's a system change or if there's a regulatory change, why it's happened and why operational process has to change. It's not a council policy, it's a regulation change, and we're going to make some differences on site and this is how it will impact you. We took away the cash tin because I don't like cash tins on site, especially when they're cashless, and that is a cashless site. And most importantly, we took away the manual docket books because in our assessment we identified that the staff had always given people a handwritten docket when they paid in cash, as well as a till docket. No one knew why they did it. No one knew where the books went, but they just did it every day. So we saved them an hour a week, and we saved somebody the storage of an archive box. And on the far right is one of our Regroup MRF reports. 2 hours a month we deliver for Regroup in Queensland, because their clients and their councils wanted a better understanding of how much stuff goes to the MRFs and what the split of those materials actually looked like. So for 2 hours each month, we create a report to break up for them a representation of all the materials that came in their yellow bins. We split it by their average annual surveyed compositional tests, and we send out a report to each of the councils so they've got something they can share with their councillors. The work that we deliver can be as simple or as complex as it needs to be. The other stuff that we do, or that we can do, in regard to remote admin, is answer the curly questions. A large part of my work is waste levy related. I am the girl that you can sit outside one of those couches with and ask me anything waste levy related, and if I don't know, I'll find out in half an hour, and we will have an answer before you leave. A lot of the time that might be, hey Lacey, what the hell's going wrong with the change in clean earth exemptions in Queensland, and how the hell am I going to deal with it, because how am I going to build a landfill cell if I now have to pay levy in Queensland? They're not like New South Wales people, they're not used to it. It might be a question of, I need to stick a temporary weighbridge in. Do I need a licence for that? And if so, who the hell writes that? Because I don't have time, and how much is it going to cost me? We are the people that answer the tricky stuff, and generally after we've answered it, we'll make sure that those things are resolved. The second pillar of our primary focus, you've heard me say it a bit, is waste levy. We are the waste levy stuff people. I love levies. At lunch, I sat downstairs and talked to a lady about levies and laughed and smiled. I've never met her before. I think she thought I was a little crazy. But the reality is that levy can actually be quite complex, and there's so much opportunity in what we do that impacts our bottom line simply because of the way we move a load, we transact a load, we record a load, we speak about a load. In Queensland, you might not realise, if you have a tyre on top of your skip bin when it comes to a landfill and you tip that load, technically that skip bin load is now regulated waste, which means you have to pay for that load if it went to landfill at a regulated waste levy. If, however, you have a scavenging arrangement in place, you can remove that tyre. You can now have the levy rate at the standard rate, take the tyre off as part of your arrangement. You've just saved yourself $35 a tonne. There are a whole range of tips and tricks that exist in the world of waste levy in every state in Australia. That's the stuff that we love. As part of our waste levy service, I mentioned that we deliver waste levy returns. We create returns across 5 states in Australia. We'd love to do more. If you need a hand with your waste levy, give me a bell. But we also do a lot of EPA responses. It's how I first met Upper Hunter. EPA New South Wales called me and said, hey, these guys need a hand. Do you want to go and talk to them? That was 7 years ago, and I love that that was in my role at a previous job, and now they're one of our largest customers. The final area that we focus on is all things audit. Now, when I say audit, we don't audit rubbish bins. I don't do bin juice. It's not me. But I'm really proud of this next slide because this year, so we're in May, these are the logos that we have audited facilities for. We're a business that's 2.5 years old, and I can count these people as our clients, and they are all repeat clients. And I love that. I love that when EPA New South Wales couldn't solve a problem with the Spring Farm art for Veolia, they rang me. And we worked through 4 years' worth of data, worked out a resolution, and have now had a baseline change signed off for the WARP portal. That is unheard of. I love that when Ramondus's major landfill had challenges and realised that their systems were complex and they didn't have a human who understood their crazy spreadsheets, that they could ring me and we could help them over a 6-month period to put in place a new process that not only meets their requirements but also meets the requirements of their large multinational external audit firm who didn't know what they wanted, but now they've got it. And I love that while it is a problem child, we are the go-to people for new chum in Queensland. It is the landfill that keeps on giving. But I love that we are the people that they trust to clean away to solve their waste levy problems, because we live and breathe audit, not only waste levy. The other thing that we do that relates to audit is Audrey. So you will see, hey Selena, can you stand up for me? You'll see Selena and people wandering around with this little shirt with a lady on the front. So I have a bunch of knowledge in my head and it proved that I'm a bit of a problem because I become a bottleneck. So what we did this year is we decided to build an app. We had a bunch of lovely people give us some money to invest in making sure that was really effective, and we've covered 7 key areas of operational efficiency so that we could start to actually ensure that facilities could align to a new best practice standard that not only I but the rest of my team could also deliver. We've been delivering Audrey audits for about 4 months, and we're standardising the way that business process at the front of the facilities looks. We look at waste levy and compliance risk, other regulatory risk, transactional, data capture, financial challenges, customer experience gaps, and all of that is done in a really systematic and industry best practice standard approach. It also means that we can deliver a much better quality and faster outcome to our clients. So instead of coming us and say, hey, well, I think I've got some problems, how do I fix them? They say, hey, I think I've got some problems, can you come out? 2 weeks later, they've got an excellent to-do list of all the challenges and opportunities that they now have to solve, and hopefully they will ask us to give them a hand to help solve them, or they'll be confident enough to know at least where to start. So what's next for us, other than the fact that I haven't kept track of any time and I have no idea how much time I've taken? On 1 more minute, you're making things up, aren't you, Andrew? I don't know what's next, honestly. I didn't expect 2 years ago that I would have a business that has 11 humans that's profitable and that's solving a much needed problem in the industry. I didn't expect to have a business that has a real opportunity to help solve so many challenges in the industry. The industry knew existed, but probably couldn't articulate, and we've been able to help with that. I didn't expect that we'd be shortlisted for small business consultancy last year and up against Ask Waste, Talus, and Prince and MRA. That was pretty awesome. And I didn't expect that I'd be the owner of a software company. But I think what's next for us will be we'll continue to grow, we'll continue to invest in awesome humans in this industry to help support our customers, and we'll endeavour to continue to identify what best practice standards should be and hopefully help facilities across Australia to roll that out so that they can be both as commercial and profitable and as efficient as possible while getting the best support they can from my lovely team of humans wherever they may be based. And thank you very much. That's it for me. Any questions? Excellent.
So we'll have an opportunity for a panel discussion after, if there's any questions there. Yeah, very inspirational, particularly like the focus on the leadership of your staff and the team sort of culture there. It's that's great. Sounds like a great place to work. Okay, next we've got Rebecca Healy here, who's from Boxhead Plastics. Interesting, no? Scrap bumper bars as feedstock for circular futures. So, wow, it's yeah, sounds very innovative. So, come on down.
Okay. Breathe. Hi, everybody. Oh, yes, yeah, I did a bit of a rundown on that before we started. Oh, gosh, thanks, Lacey and Rob. Wow, those presentations were amazing. Hard act to follow. Yeah, thanks for that intro. My name is Beck and I am the founder of Boxhead Plastics. Boxhead Plastics collects, recycles and remanufactures scrap plastic car bumper bars. A car bumper bar is the plastic wraparound that wraps around sort of the front and the rear of your vehicle. Usually it has a grille in it and some lights and yeah, quite often is easily damaged and is almost always replaced rather than repaired. Just a little bit about myself first before I go on. I worked for 15 years for state government doing administration work. No education at all, just yeah, a hard worker and lucky to have gotten that role. And yeah, since transitioning from that role, I had this sort of deep desire to have some sort of environmental impact for the next 40 years of my life, hopefully, if I live to 80. My grandmother's 94, so maybe it'll be 50. And yeah, plastic waste was just like a huge pain point for me that sort of sits both in my heart and my gut. So I went back to TAFE and I retrained as a polymer technician to learn how to manufacture products from recycled plastics. So yeah, I'm now studying a diploma of sustainable practices. I'm still heading up Boxhead Plastics, and I have a 4-year-old son whom I love very much and a wonderful husband who's at home hopefully looking after him. I'm sure he is. So yeah, I suppose just a bit of actually too, I'm going to hand around, there's some golf tees. Even if you're not a golfer, take some golf tees because you'll be interested to know what they're made out of. So grab a golf tee, and there's also a clipboard if you wanted to sign up for our newsletters. They're not junky, they're actually quite informative. Yeah, so go for gold, warm us up a bit, we can look at some things. Yeah, other people you can just hand it around, yeah. And you can hand the bag round if you want to, Lacey, just, yeah. and people can hand it around. Yeah, thank you. All right, also another warm-up question. I need loosening up as well. Participation from the audience. Who here drives a car? Yes, so do I. Who here owns a car? I actually do. I'm lucky enough to own a car. Who here owns 2 cars? I actually have 2 cars too, can you believe? One's a 1989 Ford Telstar. So I'm not rich. And who here has their cars repaired? Yes, I do. Well, when they get repaired, where does all of that, replaced or reconditioned or, serviced items go? Tyres and oil and, if we have a bingle, where does our, that crashed door go, or the chipped bumper bar go, or our tyres go? I'm in the industry and I still don't even know the answers to all of that. So I think it's a good sort of connector for us all, that we are a part of this, that we are connected to this issue, if you want to call it an issue, and that we, have an opportunity to ask, our repairers, what happens to all of this, that we can actually get thinking, that we can make a difference and have an impact. So, moving on from the introduction, who is and what is Boxhead Plastics? So founded in 2020, so we haven't been around for that long, so we're still very much startup. As I said, we collect, recycle and remanufacture plastic car bumper bars. Now, before I go any further on that, we actually don't own any of our own infrastructure, so we're talking like millions of dollars worth of infrastructure here to complete those 3: collecting, recycling, remanufacturing. But we do have a wonderful local chain of relationships that help us close that loop, which I'll talk about a bit later. I just didn't want to blow us up to something that we're not. We're a charity, so all profits we make go back into the business to expand the business, and people can actually donate to us as well, so it's fully tax deductible. We're majority female board, so being a registered charity, we have to have a board. And we really like to focus on an inclusive workforce as well, so I'll go into what that means a bit later on as well. So what's the problem? So a Google search reveals, because we all trust what we Google, 700,000 cars annually in Australia get disposed of. Can you believe? Maybe you can believe that. When I looked that up, I'm like, no way. Yes way. And I looked up some reports as well from the Australian Plastic Recycling reports. The 2018-19 report showed that the automotive industry in Australia consumes 196,800 tonne of plastic per year, but the recycle rate for the automotive industry is really, really low. It's only 1.9%. And I looked at the reports from 17-18 and it wasn't, it was about the same. So it's not actually getting any better. So we need to get onto this, try and make that figure a bit better. So that's the problem. I don't like to say what's the solution. I think more of it is that what's the opportunity. So is this a problem? Is this waste? I mean, it's waste if it's wasted, and it's a problem if we're not doing anything about it. But Boxhead Plastics has actually been able to turn these car bumper bars that are destined for landfill into an opportunity. So this is the sort of 4 points of our process, our circular economy process. There's a few videos, they're very short, they're a little bit groovy, they're on our Instagram page, so if you want to see more of these videos, just follow us. I hope the music's not going to be too loud and annoy the people next door, but anyway, let's have a little look. The first one is collection. That's a little bit hard to read, isn't it? Anyway, those colours don't really go very well. The first one's collection. So We're all volunteers still, actually, as well, including myself. And my husband's increasingly stressing about that because I'm not bringing any money in. And I'm spending money, as I do. Money I don't have. So, yeah, we drive around. We rent a truck and we drive around to smash repair businesses and we load the truck up with their car bumper bars and we take them to a local recycling facility. So let's just have a little look at the collection process.
Stay on your mind, come back every time, baby, I'ma keep you craving. Baby, I'ma keep you craving.
So I love the van, actually. That was actually my father's van, and we started collecting car bumper bars. We actually started manufacturing those golf tees and selling products first. That's what sort of started the business off. But then we were getting so many phone calls, can you come and get our car bumper bars? And I'm like, I don't know. There was such a need in the industry. People didn't know what to do with their car bumper bars. So this sort of just organically grew this part of the business of us going out and collecting the car bumper bars. And it brings in revenue, which is nice. But yeah, the first collection we did was, about 16 months ago. And I collected with my father, some of you know him, 16 car bumper bars in his high-ass van. So now, just as a comparison, we have a regular weekly run and we collect on average about 200 car bumper bars in that one day. So yeah, we've grown quite quickly, and it's actually increasing quite rapidly now, where we had a advisory board meeting last night around getting to 2 days a week. So how am I going? 10 minutes. The next part is recycling. So as I said, it is in our growth plan to be able to purchase some of this machinery, but it's really expensive. So at the moment we have a recycling partner who recycles this material for us. And hi to everybody who's streaming online too. I'm going to, for 2 seconds, step away because I'm going to hand something around. I'm sorry you don't get free golf tees. You can email me if you want something, buy something on our website. So this is the recycling process. This is shredded down and then it's pelletized down. So yeah, have a look at these. Oh, thank you. So yeah, you get a bit of a touch and feel of actually what it looks like from a car bumper bar to a material used as feedstock to manufacture those golf tees that you have. So yeah, let's have a look at the next video. So this is our recycler. So as you can see, that's a lot of recycled plastic car bumper bars. We don't sell that many golf tees. I wish we did. So this gets resold onto other Sydney-based manufacturers. And the remanufacturing process, so I did actually train to do injection moulding, and that's sort of where the golf tee was born. It wasn't we didn't do all this sort of sales and marketing research around and then landed on this product. Oh, let's make golf tees. It was actually through the wonderful Institute, TAFE at Lidcombe, who had a golf tee mould. And so this was sort of part of my trials on thinking, car bumper bars, can I make something out of this? Ding, a golf tee. So black golf tee is not ideal, I understand that. It's more of a proof of concept. So, so the remanufacturing and that material that's getting passed around is very good for injection moulding as well as extrusion moulding. So, yeah, let's have a look at the manufacturing process.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business.
So that mould that I'm putting in is quite heavy. You can see I'm lifting it with a crane. And that golf team mould is around about $18,000. So that's just the mould that I put into that machine, which is very expensive. So that gives you a bit of an understanding of how expensive it is for this industry to manufacture products. So the Aussie circular economy, we collect, recycle and remanufacture in the Sydney Basin, and we have customers nationally, internationally for our products. And we are expanding and growing. We have now started manufacturing coasters. And I'll just say too, it does help being in the industry because this coaster mould, we don't own it, we didn't pay for it, and it's the same with the golf team mould. I just called around injection moulders and said, hey, do you have any moulds on the shelf that you're not using anymore? Why, yes, we do. So it's sort of like a little bit of a sidearm where we're actually, reclaiming other unused, shelf items and putting them back into process. So, yeah, we have been really lucky in that sense that, we haven't had to outlay a huge amount of money on some of these assets that are just sitting there not being used anyway, but they're perfect for our recycled material. And, we've been able to do some designing and marketing, and, we sell these too. And one of them is Resource Park. Chris is here. This is a demonstration that you can put your own logos on our products as well. So I'll just hand these around so you can have a quick look at these. Okay. So this was a job we did for the Australian Made campaign because we are licensed, Australian Made and owned. And we put their logo on our golf tee boxes and they use them as promo products. So, and I just realised that I probably can't click into these links. Let's go forward one and see what happens. No. Oh, all right. I was very prepared around this, but I just got onto this slide and I thought, hold on, I can't show you our webpage. So that's fine. Oh, hold on, somebody's clicking something. Maybe they can click into it. Anyway, look, our impact. So you can jump onto either of our websites and, we have a lot of information on there around our impact and what we've done so far. So just quickly, the Native website, that's our shop for our products. So our golf tees and coasters are branded Native. And the Boxhead Plastics website has lots of information on there too. For example, to date, we have diverted, this is about 16 months since we started collecting the scrap plastic car bumper bars. We've diverted 5,700 car bumper bars from landfill. It's probably a little bit more now because I just realised, hold on, when did I update that? Which equates to about 20 tonne of plastic waste from landfill. We have 16 volunteers on board now, and you can also access our shop through that website, and you can also donate to us via that website as well. Along with the impact of diverting the waste from landfill through our collections, we've sold like tens of thousands of golf tees nationally and internationally, and people also use them as a promotional item to say, look, you know, you can recycle this plastic into amazing products. And our 16 volunteers, I'll just go to the next slide. I better just check how long I've been talking for, 18 minutes. This is the part that I love. I love the plastic part and I love seeing it all getting recycled, but I love the people part. So we have up here, the one with me in the photo, being silly, that's Ryan. So Ryan says, I love volunteering with Boxhead Plastics. Being out in the truck and doing physical labour is very good for my mental health. So a lot of our workers, particularly the people that come out and collect the car bumper bars with us, they have, you know, a range of barriers in their life. Could be some from childhood, could be disabilities, could be age, or could be anything, you know, long-term unemployed. So, yeah, we really just love being out and about with our workers and giving them these amazing opportunities, because not only are they helping me lift up like all these car bumper bars into the truck and helping me deliver them, but we are also giving back to them in the sense that, you know, we then help them to find, you know, go on to find meaningful employment. I wish we could pay them, but we don't have the money at the moment. But yeah, that is in our our midterm goal, is to be able to pay some of our staff, and also to, you know, just giving them references, giving them, yeah, just the social connection as well that they get through being with us out and about. And also we've got, oh sorry, that was Stephen. I just gave you the quote from Stephen. Stephen's not in one of these photos. But yeah, Ryan says, if I was not out collecting bumper bars, I would be isolated at home playing computer games. And like, these guys are legends. Like, I just love them. They make me laugh. They're so funny. Yeah, and I don't know, yeah, why, I don't know, society, it's just isolating and hard to get out there. And we've also got Tim. He's 84 years of age. Yes, he's 84 years of age, and he is amazingly strong and fit and does a full day out in the truck with us. And this is full-on physical labourous work. But at his age, he finds it hard to find employment. I know I'm at my 20 minutes, 30 seconds. So I'll just wrap up. But you are our success. So we haven't been able to do any of this without all of you and all of our volunteers. And, you know, as we continue to get support, we can continue to grow. So there's plenty of ways that you could support us. You can donate to us. It's fully tax deductible. You can volunteer with us. If you go to our website, Boxhead Plastics, you can, yeah, get in contact with us. Follow us, you get to see all these cool videos, yeah. Or you could become a member as well, even if you just wanted to sit on our committee. We have a few committee meetings every year and you can have a vote. Or you can go to our shop and you can shop with us. So, yeah, that's me. I'm sorry, I'm 1 minute over.
Yeah, some pretty inspirational stuff there. You look at, you know, it ticks a lot of boxes from the point of view of a, I guess, an untouched market in terms of bumper bars and the social enterprise aspect to it as well. And yeah, no, it's amazing. Any questions on that one? Okay. Oh, we've got a question. We've got multiple questions. That's all right. We'll go to a panel now. Any questions for any of from Lacey, Rob, or Rebecca as well?
Rebecca, Rob Hook from Gunnedah. That was a very inspirational address. Thank you very, very much. Not often you find people putting themselves in the deep end as you have and actually conducting a charity for other people. You've got to be commended for that. I would like to know where do you see this whole enterprise in the next 5 years?
We do have a 1 to 5 year business plan. I know I feel very businessy when we do all our business stuff, but it's definitely not me. So actually our short-term goal was to have a regular collection once a week of the car bumper bars, and we've already hit that goal at 3 months of this year. Our midterm goals are to increase the collection of the car bumper bars, so that would be, we would have to increase our customer base, and we would then start looking at investing in some infrastructure, so that may be buying a truck or looking at maybe a factory bay where we could put in a shredder, a small shredder. And also our midterm goals is also to employ at least one staff member, so a paid staff member. That would be amazing. And our long-term goals are, we would love to be able to do custom injection moulding for people, but certainly is to bring out more products and to, we could expand throughout New South Wales and throughout Australia. We're definitely growing just in our local area, and we have a huge amount of room for growth, so yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Hi, my question is for Beck too. Over here. Ian, the theme for tomorrow night's dinner is the 60s. I'm a relic from the 60s, and I'm looking around, I'm seeing a few others. The 60s, of course, was the years of the baby boomers. It looks like your parents might be baby boomers, but
Yep.
So during the 60s, there was a certain love of cars, which were very different to the cars of today, but there were certain of those vehicles. Bumper bars, obviously, if you want to talk about a commonly used device on a car, bumper bars come out top, absolutely top. Now, if I could use an example, in my day, I'm not going to tell you when my day was, I can't even remember, but there was a certain car then called the Holden Tirana. Don't know if you remember the Holden Tirana?
I'm familiar with the Tirana, yes.
Yes, Mary.
I wish I owned one.
Well, had you considered, obviously that we're talking a niche market here, and I'm talking about huge amounts, but there are people, including my son-in-law Nathan. Son-in-law Nathan has restored a Holden Tirana. He bought it for some, a few $100s or something, and he reckons it's now worth many thousands of dollars because he actually got the whole engine working and got the thing working. I know the bumper bars, the plastic bumper bars of today are very different in form and structure to the vehicles that we used to know when we were teenagers, where the bumper bars were invariably steel. However, plastic can be, well, as you say, can be moulded. Have you considered any restructuring routine where you might adapt relatively new plastic bumper bars to older vehicles?
No, that is a very new concept, and thank you for your question. And that's what I love about these Q&As. There's always new ideas coming through. But look, one thing that did come to mind when you were talking, and one of the common questions that we do get is why not use this feedstock back into, products that are manufactured for vehicles? Well, as we know, we don't have any of those facilities in Australia anymore. And unfortunately, the feedstock is more expensive than virgin feedstocks merely because of the cost associated with collection, recycling and remanufacturing. Why don't we remanufacture car products? Again, the cost associated with that is enormous, but absolutely there could be a future for us to be able to manufacture, even if it's small things like, water pump housings or something like that. Of course, all of the insurance and the regulatory requirements we need to get over is quite huge as well. So that's why a lot of products are not on the table for us right now for the automotive industry. car floor mats, for example, that would be a good one. But again, the costs associated with designing and making a mould, even before it goes into production, is just so amazingly expensive. It is a huge barrier for us at the moment.
Next question.
So, like everyone else here, I think I'm astounded at your ingenuity, bootstrapping the business. Is fantastic what you've done. When I look at your product, it doesn't seem to have any paint. So I was just wondering, do you have a process that removes the paint from the plastic before you do the moulding?
That's a good question, actually. Did you see the shredded feedstock that came around? That actually, you can see the paint flecks in that. Now, it does get washed and metals are extracted as well, and other contaminants through that shredding and washing process, but then it goes back into an extruder and gets reheated and pelletized, so that does predominantly burn off a lot of the paint. Initially, I didn't realise that, and through TAFE, I used to actually manually remove the paint off these car bumper bars before I was shredding it down, but it absolutely doesn't make a difference in the world. But the coasters, sometimes you can see on the back of the coasters little flecks of the paint on there. But yeah, like any product that you want, you can have any colour as long as it's black. Henry Ford.
Hi.
Not really a question, but I used to do a lot of work in a transfer station, and we used to get truckloads of bumper bars turning up, and we always dumped them in a certain spot so we can get them into the transfer trailer. They were always a drama in the transfer station pit, but then I worked at the landfill later on, and they were always a drama when they turned up there because they just do not want to go down. So no, I thought it was a great idea. I didn't realise you could do that with it. So nice work.
Thank you. And yes, they are a drama. And Chris, I think, spoke at the last session as well around these bulk waste items, and they're hugely problematic in landfills. So yeah, if anybody has any connections to people at landfills and you want your problem solved, we'll come and get your car bumper bars. It's going to cost you, though. We do not collect for free. You're not doing us a favour by giving us your plastic waste.
Okay, moving along. Just obviously this question, we've got a bit of time because not 5 minutes or so, but there's another question here. But remember, there's questions for any of our presenters today, so if you've got any more.
Well, you'll be pleased. Mine's for Lacey. Thanks. Coming back to linking things together and not being a bin juice girl.
Yep.
With mass balance reporting rolling out in more jurisdictions, some of them breaking up classifications of waste between delivery types more than others, would you be in a position that if someone had done the waste audits maybe at the transfer station for their own billing purposes, to be able to link it with your magic tools to produce stuff that state governments could use to focus in on those problematic wastes that aren't the really high volume ones like CND and organics and stuff to help show what we could be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. In South Australia, there's obviously the new Super MRF, the SWARA MRF. We've actually helped them to define their new data standards, what their standard data model should look like. We're talking to 3 other major landfills in South Australia to help them to improve how they build their mass balance. It actually comes down to the transactional solution that you use, whether you're Iway, Mandalay, AMCS, it doesn't matter. It's about standardising your data approach and then building something that spits out in the right format. But we actually do quite a lot of that work to take what you know and turn it into a repeatable process so that when it comes out, it just spits out. I had this conversation with Jason from Tamworth today who said, I've got my mass balance. Ron White from the EPA is going to email me. It takes me about a week. I'm like, no, Jason, 4 hours. He's like, no, a week. I'm like, no, Jason, 4 hours. So yes, absolutely. We work a lot with every state's different mass balance requirements, but as the states are actually standardising, it's really good to have those conversations before they roll the requirement out so that we can help them to understand what each of the transactional solutions can and can't natively do, because that also helps to make sure that we're simplifying reporting requirements for our facilities, not just regulating that we need something because the department decides they do. Good question, Tiana.
Fabulous presentations, thank you. Just a question to Lacey. I'm just wondering, just with the sort of cloud and the way data's uploaded and things, you know, how do you sort of protect? Do you have some sort of firewall that protects data from companies?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for our business, we work with our clients' data depending on what systems and processes they have in place. So we might, for instance, access their servers locally, but again, a lot of the data we use comes down to their transactional software. So we would always help to advise them around the type of systems they use and what the inherent risks are of those systems. If you're using one type of transactional system that's maybe hybrid, both cloud and locally server-based, they might have certain controls in place that suit Australian local servers and certain security parameters. I would obviously always recommend that you don't create shared passwords, you don't create generic passwords, users have their own access, but natively we like to access council or our commercial clients' own facilities with our own dedicated user access so that they've got an audit trail of who's getting what, because aside from that, you've got to remember we're touching the data of, well, currently probably 35% of the Australian waste industry. So I want to know that people are confident that we don't go and take Bob's data over here and give it to Billy. Having that auditability is certainly something, but I'd suggest if there's something that you've specifically got a challenge about, come and see me at the couches, happy to talk to you one-on-one, or chat to your transactional software provider, because all of them have got different scenarios to help to make sure that the cloud scenarios are working, but certainly don't be server-based, be cloud.
Okay. No more questions. Last chance. There's nothing online. All good. Yeah. So, so from what I understand, I think there's a panel that are involved in making that decision, and it gets announced tomorrow morning at the session for those that are attending the whole of conference session that'll be in the area. What was that, sorry? Yeah, plenary session. So the winner will be announced there. So I'm not all across the details of that, but so that's when that's on. Look, we've right on time actually. It's 4:50, which we were to run to. So unfortunately, as I said, Guido couldn't be here. So he was obviously is the general manager of a social enterprise that aims to give bike riders the opportunity to new bikes. So by recycling, repairing and redeploying them. So very unfortunately he couldn't make it, but that's good. We've allowed us some extra time for the other speakers. We certainly had a lot of questions at the end, and I think, and no one really, I've seen one person leave, which in the last session of the day is just unheard of. Because everyone thinks, I'm amazed at that, because everyone thinks I'll get to the bar first. Yeah. So I've been there a couple of times. There's always someone in there having a go. I want to go have a look myself. So so Rob's out there. What was they called, the Osprey Room or something like that? It's yep. Free audits. So So are you guys here tonight or? Yep. Okay. So obviously there's the opportunity to catch up and hear any further questions in relation to it. So I think it's fantastic, and well done. Certainly some innovative ideas there and startups, and wish you all the best into the future with that. So we'll conclude this. So the next thing, there is no next session for today. The next session is the those that are going to the welcome conference dinner, whatever it's called, out there where the exhibition area is, for those that may not have been here before. That starts at 5:30, so you've got about 40 minutes until that happens. I'll see a few out there then, and thank you.